Today I'm going to show you what it's like to drive the all-new ATS V sedan. This is a competitor to the BMW M3 and C63, and it actually deserves to be in the ranks with some of the best four-door sedans, sports sedans ever created. I love the way it looks all around. The side's a little bit boring, but the front, with the carbon fiber hood and the carbon fiber front splitter, looks absolutely aggressive. Let's walk around to the interior. Now, room for the rear passengers is actually quite good. You've got an excellent amount of headroom, and legroom is plentiful as well. It's definitely competitive in its segment in terms of space and comfort for the passengers. Hop on into the inside. Got nice welcoming graphics. Start it up, push button start. Right off the bat, you notice the steering wheel is of the perfect diameter, and the Alcantara wrapping gives you great grip. The paddles are in a fantastic location. I like the way they're chromed. There's two transmission options. You've got the 8-speed automatic, which is offered here, and a 6-speed standard manual transmission. I'd probably opt for the 6-speed manual, as I'll talk in a bit. The paddles tend to lag a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of the instrument cluster here. It looks pretty outdated, especially with some of the new full digital instrument clusters. This infotainment screen is somewhat easy to use. However, the buttons can be a little annoying because they are touchscreen. But one of my favorite features is the performance data recorder. We don't have an SD card inserted, but you can record what's going on ahead of you using the front camera and then look back at it later with speed, gear, lateral Gs, and stuff like that. When you put it in reverse, it automatically activates the backup camera. As you can see, the graphics are not very good at all. The refresh rate's a little slow, and compared to some modern technology, it's a little bit behind. It's rush hour traffic right now, so I thought I'd do a city point of view drive as opposed to more of a performance-oriented one. Obviously, you know that the ATS V is a high-performance sedan, and in the review that will be coming out very shortly from us, we'll give you a lot more features and a lot more info on what it's like to drive, and I'll give you a hint. It's absolutely awesome. But how about we take it for a little spin around the block to see what it's like to daily drive one of these. You're not going to always be going all out on the track. Under the hood of the ATS V is actually a reworked CTS V Sport motor. It's a twin-turbo V6. The boost is up from 12 to 18 PSI thanks to some new turbos, and power sits at 464 horsepower and 444 pound-feet of torque. That is a lot. It means 0 to 60 happens in 3.8 seconds, the quarter in 12.1. So in terms of speed, you don't have to worry about that whatsoever. How about ride comfort? I'm going over somewhat of a bumpy road. Well, you've got magnetic ride, which is measuring the road ahead 1,000 times per second to try to figure out how best to adjust the suspension in terms of comfort and max performance. I'll be honest, it rides pretty hard, but if you like aggressive sports cars, then you will really enjoy this. If I was going to daily drive a car, I don't mind at all that the suspension is a little bit harsh on the ATS V. However, be aware that if you want something that's very, very comfortable, this might not be the car for you. Steering inputs are very accurate, communicate a good amount of feedback, and it's a really confidence-inspiring driving experience. So as I mentioned in the beginning, the paddle response is a little bit lagging. Compared to something like the BMW M3, the new F80 generation with the DCT, you click the paddle and it's instantaneous shifts. This does lag a bit, and it's actually a little bit annoying. So if I was going to get one of these, I would definitely get a manual, and that puts it in a category of one of the most powerful, most fun four-door cars with a manual transmission offered today. Really makes it a more special driving experience. With that, you've got active rev matching and even no lift shifting, so that you can get every last tenth of a second out on the drag strip. But even still, with an automatic, this car is fun to drive. You put it in drive mode, and then you've also got different modes. So let's see. next to the shift lever. You've got an up and down. Now we're in sport mode. Let's put it up into tour. Makes the ride a little bit more comfortable. Snow and ice probably makes the traction settings a little bit more forgiving. Track mode, obviously, for the track, lets the tail end slide out a little bit more. I'm not sure how well this comes out on the GoPro. However, it's got a beautiful heads-up display that's colored. Right now it shows I'm going 43 miles per hour. It shows how many RPMs I'm doing and that I'm in drive. If you put it in manual mode, it shows which gear you're in. I was actually in 8th gear at 43 miles an hour. That's pretty awesome. 8-speed automated transmission. It's a fully automatic. It is not a manual in any way. It is not a double clutch transmission. Helps this car get better fuel economy. The car is very well isolated from the road. There's not too much road noise. There's not too much wind noise, but it does allow a good amount of intrusion in the cabin of that twin-turbo V6, and it's actually one of the better sounding V6s on the market. I'm pretty impressed. You know, from the start of this, I was a little worried, twin-turbo, and it's a 6-cylinder, but of course there are great sounding twin-turbo 6-cylinders, like the Nissan GTR, for instance, or if you go aftermarket on an M3, they can sound pretty darn good as well. With the paddles, you have to actually upshift before red line, and then the car reacts and shifts at red line. So it's a little bit of that paddle lag. You can't shift at 6,500, otherwise you bounce off the red line. And that, in a way, hinders the driving experience. Obviously, you would get used to it, but they gotta work on their response time. The seats are very, very comfortable. These are Recaro 16-way adjustable seats. You can tighten the side bolsters enough to squeeze even the skinniest of occupants, and you can make it wide enough if you want it less aggressive. Very comfortable over long roads and driving around in traffic. It's totally fine. Now, because this car is turbocharged, it does suffer actually from a tiny hint of turbo lag, something that's not really present in something like a BMW M3. But because of that, it actually makes lower speed driving more practical and more comfortable. Because the turbos haven't kicked in, it's not as touchy, and it really feels like a very, very easy car to drive, something that anybody could drive normally. And if you don't press the gas more than a third of the way or half the way, you wouldn't know that this is a quick sports car. And that's pretty good. On the side, you've got an awesome collision avoidance indicator right there. It lights up in yellow in my side view mirror to let me know that there was someone in my blind spot. That's come in handy a few times and is a great new technology that manufacturers are adding to cars. Visibility is great in this car, even over your shoulder on the right, the rear view visibility, as well as the frontal visibility. Makes this a very safe feeling car. If safety is important, the ATS-V definitely has you covered on that, and you've got the extra power to make evasive maneuvers if you need to. You've also got Brembo brakes, so stopping isn't an issue as well. Lease deals on these cars are as low as $528 a month. That puts it in to Scat Pack Charger territory, and I would much rather have this car than the Charger. For $500 a month, this might be the best, for certainly one of the best cars you can get for the money in terms of all-around practical. It's got performance. It's definitely got the looks. This is a stunning vehicle. It sounds good, and it is one of the best handling sedans ever created. It's almost like what the Chevy SS wanted to be. Of course, it's not naturally aspirated, but the suspension setup is similar to the SS, only a little bit more forgiving. The SS was too harsh, but the steering feel, it's stiff, it's communicative, and it's really, really impressive for a car in this generation. Auto manufacturers are kind of veering away from enthusiast cars, making them more luxurious, making them safer, more isolated from the road, so they can sell to the mass market. But this car really feels like it was built for a community of automotive enthusiasts that are really looking for something that's fun to drive. I'm very happy that they did that. So honestly, I'd recommend this car with flying colors. Get the 6-speed manual for sure. I actually haven't really played around with active rev matching on a 6-speed manual, but I imagine it makes it a little bit easier. Honestly, I recommend this car with flying colors. If I were to get it, I'd probably get a sedan with a 6-speed manual to really complete the experience and take away from really the only negative with this car is the paddle response. Of course, I'm not a huge fan of the Q system, but apparently they're in the works of revamping that. It's definitely due for a refresh. There you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like always, please browse our channel and subscribe. Look forward to seeing you next video.